Hi, I'm Mark Little. I've spent over 40 years in the financial services industry as a comprehensive financial advisor, working exclusively with affluent families who delegate their financial affairs to a coordinated team. And what I want to share with you today is a hypothetical story. It's going to be fun. It's like a little mini case study, but one that's rooted in deep reality because I think it might hit close to home. So here's the hypothetical. Let's say Steve Jobs hired you to be his financial advisor. Yes, that's Steve Jobs. And before you think it's too far-fetched, let me tell you this. I have tailored Steve's hypothetical client expectations using real-world 2025 data on what multimillionaires expect from their financial advisor. So even though this is a fictional example, it's exactly the kind of client that you're already working with or you want to be working with. Let's start with a story that Steve actually did live. I want to take you back to 1983. The Apple Macintosh team is behind schedule. They're a bunch of brilliant engineers, great team. They're inspired designers, but they keep tweaking and debating and reworking. Perfectionism is stalling out the project. Steve Jobs is very frustrated. He pulls the team together and he says something that's going to go on to define his leadership style for decades after that. He comes up with a mantra that real artists ship. Real artists ship. So we're going to unpack that in a little while, but basically it relates to us as financial advisors. What did he mean by that? What he meant was no more excuses, no more delays. If it wasn't in the customer's hands, it didn't count. And guess what? They shipped. January 24th, 1984, the original Macintosh launched on time. It wasn't flawless, but it was bold, and it was real, and it changed history. Why? Because they delivered the product, not just the promise. Okay, let's go on to our little mini case study. So we've acquired Steve Jobs as a new ideal client. Now the advisor is standing in front of the team. We have an internal team meeting. So you've just been hired by Steve Jobs to be his financial advisor. In this internal team meeting, you're walking your staff through the plan. All right, team, we've got a big one. Steve Jobs. He's now a client, but we're going to treat him just like we treat all of our top clients. We're going to stick to the process. We're going to start with investment management, risk profile, diversified portfolio. We're going to use Morningstar. We're going to get everything allocated appropriately. We're going to run performance reports quarterly. We're going to produce clean pie charts, printouts, client education. Let's use Money Guide Pro to generate the visuals. I want you to pull his 1040. I want you to run tax projections through Holistic Plan. Looks off, flag it. Otherwise, include the usual tax strategy handouts. Now, on estate planning, grab the trust documents, review the beneficiary designations, include that estate flow chart that we always use, and the probate one-pager. As far as insurance, just do an inventory of his coverage, run it through Riskalyze, give him our basic gap analysis. So the staff asks, how much customization are we expecting here? So I reply, custom tailor the portfolio to his various accounts the way we normally do. The staff asks, what about customization in the other areas? What about tax, estate, insurance? I confirm none at this point. Let's wait and see if he asks, and we adjourn the meeting. Okay, so I feel great. The team feels confident. It's a solid system. People love the visuals, and it's what we've been doing for years. Now it's time for the first client progress meeting with Steve. So I walk into the conference room. Let's say hypothetically, Steve is sitting there. I present everything. I go through the pie charts. I go through all the reports, a Monte Carlo simulation, beautiful printouts. Steve listens quietly. He's totally engaged. I'm done. Steve looks up and he says, okay, so I see a lot of charts, but where's the plan? I say, Steve, this is the plan. We've structured the investments. We've reviewed all the taxes. We've looked at the estate documents. Steve says, no, no. You gave me data, not a strategy. You gave me education, not coordination. I have a tax advisor. I have an estate planning lawyer. I have an insurance consultant. Is anyone talking to each other? Have you spoken to any of them? If I asked any one of them to show me the strategy, to tell me what we're actually working towards, could they, based on your interactions with them? Steve says, I hired you to think so that I don't have to. I wanted you to coordinate everything so that I can delegate. And I want you to lead so I don't get surprised. Where's the document that I can refer to that shows me my objectives? The objectives with the strategies to achieve them, and then all the tactics to implement the strategies. Until I see that, you haven't shipped. And I don't trust things that haven't shipped. So what's the takeaway here? Well, for some of you, it should be a wake-up call. Most high-end advisors think the relationship is solid, but they're blind to the fact that there's no real work product, no comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy, nothing the client can point to and say, this is what we're doing. The client smiles until one day they just fire you. No warning, no argument, just a transfer request. If that possibility bothers you even a little, here's your next step. Just ask your client, what more can I be doing to consistently exceed your expectations over the next 12 months? Stop and just listen, because real artists ship. Click the link below and read the full mini case study. I walk through it in more detail. I hope you enjoy it.